I'm feeling really good. I just came back from my climb to Mount Kinabalu last night. So yes, with a lot of broken knees and bones, and but I'm feeling good. Okay, that's a really good question because I got to know Dr. Professor Mike in 2022. And how that happened was I was one of the invited guests for Brand Laureate Award dinner. And in the goodie bag, they had these samples gave away for supplements. Coincidentally, that year, it was my first climb to Mount Kinabalu, and I was practicing a lot of hiking and breathing, and you needed the energy. So I contacted Dr. Mike from there, and we got to know each other and became really good friends. And I used his supplements to build my energy, especially my heart, when you're climbing, hiking and all that. And wow, I think that really helped me a lot. I think the supplements were fantastic. In the meantime, we got to know each other very well, and that's when everything started from there. Yeah. Okay, mainly I've been taking a lot of his supplements. They have the Swiss supplements, which is the serum, which is good for anti-inflammatory, and then for the heart, for the energy, the Infaplex, I think, if I'm taking that as well. And when it comes to beauty, I'm just actually starting this year with him with my stem cell treatment for my inner health and also for my outer. Yeah. Well, I did the peptide stem cells first time about 2 months ago in December, and I think my skin is looking much better because I do have little scars here and there, and there's some skin tone lightening going on there. And what's good is the skin feels supple. So I really like that because it's natural. It's not something you have to do it in a very artificial way. So yep, that's my experience. I believe very much in the natural process. I totally believe in stem cells. Dr. Mike wrote a lot of books about brain stem cells, about beauty as well, aesthetic treatments. But his treatment in European wellness is entirely different than what you see outside. I do a lot of reading. I'm a reader. I do a lot of research. I don't simply just jump into things. So for me, the advice that I get from Dr. Mike, what I need, he tells me what I need. And I think that's important, right? I think that's very important when you are consulting with a specialist. It's not about money. It's about you feeling good about yourself and how you're going to achieve that. And that's what Dr. Mike gives to me. And I like it because whatever treatment that he's recommending me to do, I don't even think twice. Actually, I'll just say, okay, doctor, I believe, you give me the best. So I'm just going to go for it. Yep. At my age, I'm a grandmother of 2 young boys, and in fact one of them is my elder grandson is autistic. I believe a lot in wellness. I'm a total believer in taking very good care in terms of food, of course, being a chef myself, and my passion is food. I believe in stem cells basically because I do a lot of reading about it. This is the future. How you can build your immune system inside, how you can actually reverse aging, but in a very graceful way. Okay, the treatments actually makes me feel younger. Okay, younger, healthier, confidence in the sense that I mean, I'm very much an outdoor activity kind of person. I'm either in the kitchen or I'm in the office or I'm managing my family. And all these, you need very good mental alertness. So these stem cells, this treatment gives me that. I think that's the truth. How I feel is the mental alertness, feeling younger, feeling the fact that I don't think about my age. I just think about living healthily. I think about giving out the best I can, because when you have your mental alertness, everything else just works great for you, you know? Yep. Okay, we did our first stem cell in 2022. And the very year that I got to know Dr. Mike, and the stem cell improved tremendously. I must say tremendously. He was he was practically living a normal life, you know, really normal. And then we didn't do the stem cells, you know, with the COVID and everything. We didn't do the stem cells and we did it this year. So, and he's improved. It's like it's reversing. And people with Parkinson's, you have a lot of depression goes on there. Tan Sri had a lot of depression. He had a lot of anxiety problem. He had a lot of panic attack problems. He was always in a hurry to do something, but you don't know what. Being in the police for 40 years has always given him 5 o'clock in the morning, you get up, you're ready, put on your uniform, you go to work. Then suddenly after 40 years, you're not doing that. So being a blue blood himself, there's a lot of things going on in his mind that I myself sometimes don't understand. So it took me years to understand his depression problem. It took me years to understand how from a depression it came out to be anxiety. And from there it became panic attacks. Everything was nervous. His nervous system was just going haywire. And when we did these stem cells on him, particularly to attack or to find ways to improve. And number one was I wanted his depression, anxiety, his panic attacks. These were the ones that I wanted him to be improved. And, you know, mashallah, mashallah, in the first treatment, in 1 week, I would say in 1 week, his anxiety was 80% improved. Panic attacks, I don't see that at the moment. Anxiety, a little here and there. His depression has improved, I would say 70%. So you see, I don't expect everything to be 100%, but the reality is it works. The reality is I see the improvement. In a short time, although Dr. Mike tells me, give it about, 5 months, you'll see as he will improve and he'll improve. And he is. But the anxiety and the panic attack, the depression, that I could see already in a week. He's feeling more alive. He's getting up and there is more light and liveliness in his face. He's not everything that he looks at, it's panic and nervous, Yeah, so that's how I see the improvement. And that's helped a lot with our family as well, because having a Parkinson's in the family, especially someone you love so much, it's a tremendous stress on me as well. But I've learned not to take it as a stress. I learned to take it to deal with the issue. And that is where I get a lot of advice from Dr. Mike, how to deal with someone who has this kind of situation in the family. I think what Dr. Mike has done, he really attacks the problem point, the pain point. And what European Wellness have came out with the stem cell was to specifically attend to these issues. It is not just for, oh, okay, we're going to put some stem cell in you and you're going to see improvement. No, I think every bit he will ask me very detailed questions like, how is Tan Sri feeling? What do you see that that is bothering you about him? So I'll tell him in list what are the things. He say, okay, we cannot attack everything, but we're going to start with this. So we start with the most priority which you feel you need your husband to be improved. So we go on that. Then we'll take the next step. Then we'll take the next one. What's the next issue? What's the next issue? So I think the miracle part, if you want to say, is I think it is his advice and how he attends to the issue. That's the miracle part, I would say. Because he's a man that really, really looks into very meticulously into the issue rather than just giving me a general, don't worry, we'll do this and he'll be fine. And it's not like that. It doesn't come from his mouth like that. He really talks in detail to attend the issue. And that's a rare character from a doctor. That's where I will call him the miracle. Yeah. My success, I think it's got a lot to do with my support from my family. It's a support system. It's the eco-support system I get from my family. My husband, despite the Parkinson illness, he's mentally very good. He doesn't forget things easily. He gives me a lot of support. What I do with my life, I love cooking. It's a passion that turned into a business. All this, it comes from his support, from my children. I love my family very much. Whatever I do, my achievement, my success is actually coming from my family. So that's how I deal with it. Of course, I mean, I'm here today is because I want to create awareness. Awareness that certain chronic illness, which professional doctors won't be able to think about what is a cure. I wouldn't say a cure, but I would say how it can address the issue and improve and reverse through stem cells. That's what I would want to create. I mean, I have a grandson who's autistic. We did a treatment for him about a couple of years ago. And Dr. Mike said you should see some improvement in him around maybe about in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But the next day after the treatment, I never forgot this, is my grandson Raul. He actually could say, I'm hungry. So I never forgot it. It brought me down to tears because Dr. Mike said you'll see in 2 weeks, but the very next day. And from then on, my grandson has improved tremendously. Although there is another issues that to be addressed, but what we wanted him to start off to have the expression, he had that. So that's the miracle of stem cells. Yeah, and that's thanks a lot to Dr. Mike. You are awesome.